Commissioner Bozeman.
Here.
Commissioner McDonald.
Present.
I'd like to request all the commissioners to please talk directly into the mic so everybody can hear us. Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone. Begin our agenda this morning. We'll open the bids for Carlton Road.
Jim Boyd. It's just 1 second.
Okay, we don't have one copy. We only have one copy here from Jim Boyd, and their bid price is $398,000. $739. I guess that's an 8.
Give those figures again, Mr. Chairman.
398, 739.
Reeves Construction, Albany, Georgia.
Okay, Reeves Construction's bid is $402,684.70.
Oxford Construction Company, Albany, Georgia. It's just 1 copy, sir.
Okay. Oxford Construction's bid is $365,567.73.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we accept the bids from Oxford Construction Company in the amount of $365,567.73.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Whedbee, if you'll notify Oxford Construction and ask them when they think they can start on this project, earliest time to be. Really good.
Did Oxford Construction send in 5 sheets? I want to see that.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to state, we normally take the low bid if everything is in our experience with people, and this happens to be the low bid, but Oxford and Reeves, we have actually got better work out of them than other companies that we have dealt with. I want people to be aware of that. It's not, we're in good hands with either of those people.
Okay. Good deal. Thank you, Mr. Bibb. We need to look at the resurfacing on these Massey Airport, Woodcrest, and Spring Flats Road. We received a check of $640,898 and some change on the LMIG grant. Plus, we've got to put 30% more on top of that, and I'm hoping that the construction that was done on Carlton Road will offset a good bit of that $190,000. But we're still gonna come up short on money because the bids totaled about $600,000 average. I talked to Jeff Bridges with the Department of Transportation, and he said if we could adjust our LMIG request after we decided what we wanted to do, and we can either rebid these or we can accept those bids as they were written. You have, Renee, you have that tally sheet
I'm sorry.
on the other.
No, it should be still in your book.
Okay.
Under the last meeting. Did you keep everything from the last meeting?
Yeah, I haven't taken, I got to look at it was the last meeting.
October 1st.
Yeah.
No, it should be the October 10th when those were open, correct?
That's right, we had a call meeting.
A call. Should be a part of your packet.
I don't have it in my book.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a statement. I was incorrect in the last meeting about Messy Airport Road. That is really Mr. Gaines' district, District 1, because of the redistricting that changed that. I know I made a comment about we had the good end for resurfacing and the terrible end was not on there for resurfacing. He and I both have share Spring Flat Road. He has a portion of it and I have a portion of it. Ms. Bozeman also had one in her district up there, and I think the same thing. The good part was to be resurfaced and the bad part was not included. How this came about, I have no explanation of that myself. These different versions from different people about why it might have got. I'm not gonna say changed or either the wrong portion got put on, but as a commissioner of Worth County, even we're elected from districts, we're here to serve Worth County as a whole and all the people. And I don't feel that good about the people out here seeing a road they can barely drive over in such bad shape, not get resurfaced, and one that's in fairly decent shape that gets resurfaced. I think that would be hard to explain to the people out here.
Mr. Billy, when I talked to Mr. Bridges, he said that we can make adjustments to our application. And I can certainly call Mr. Bridges and talk to him about moving that resurfacing from 82 over to 313 to the area you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
That section of the road is in very bad shape, and I don't know how that section of the road got left out. But all of this was I will assume was taken care of last year. And when I called Matthew Inman, those are the roads that he said had been discussed last year. So that's what we put on the application. But I think we can probably get it adjusted and move that project to that section of Massey Airport.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
we don't have enough money to do all this stuff.
No, we
You
don't.
got $640,000 that came in, and I'm using round figures now. You got $640,000 came in from the state. We have to match that at 30%. That's $192,000. That leaves you $832,000. The bid this morning is $365,567.
Right.
That leaves $466,433. The bids came in here at $500-some-thousand on resurfacing. I can't remember the figure. It was
I can't remember, one of them was 601,000, I think one was 598,000.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't remember exactly which one.
This is still in your packet.
Mr. Chairman, there is a concern that I have being this late in the year. These roads that we're talking about are gonna need some places. It's gonna have to be dug out in the base and the dirt built back to stabilize it. If we just resurface over it, in a short time, we're gonna have the same problem. And it may be getting too late in the year for that in order to get that done. It's up to the board. I'm well, either way, whether they want to rebid it or what. But I am concerned about our time frame of the weather, because once the temperature drops to a certain temperature, we normally cannot successfully do that type of paving, and it takes a while to go out and get the road prepared before the resurfacing can be put back down. That's just something to think about.
Well, I think we would come out better if we rebid that road myself and just, I know Jim Boyd did not bid on that particular road, and I'm not saying that he would be a cheaper bid, but I know that Oxford has a big project in Albany, that at Jefferson Street interchange, and I think Reeves has a pretty big project going on up in Lee County, and I think it would be good business to rebid that myself and just see if we might be able to get a little bit better bid out of these folks. We may not be, but I still think we should, because we're dealing with a good bit of money. And I talked to John Merritt to see exactly how much money had been spent out on the Carlton Road project where they were building up the road. And he's working on that, because we can use that in-kind money to offset this 30%. And that would take less money out of our pocket that we're gonna have to add to it. But I'm hoping that John will have those figures up for us by tomorrow anyway. We can look at it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
on this research, and I'm like Mr. McDonald, the parts that the roads that's being done is not the ones that got a bid on. But we do have a bid from last year out on Meadows Road in Mr. Matt Sutton's district that came in at $429,000, if I remember correctly. You could pave these two roads this year, because John says he can do that one out there in 2 weeks, because all he's got to do is the big clearance right there at 112 where it's a safety factor. And I mean, I'll give up the resurfacing in my district for this year, because what needs to be done ain't getting done.
Is there any discussion, Mr. Joe? Me too.
I would like, Mr. Chairman, I would like to see the figures compiled.
Right.
I'm not sure if they will still give us that same rate to do the road in Mr. Sutton's district or not. But if we have the appropriate amount of money, appropriate amount of funds, then I don't mind going that route as well. The thing that I'm concerned about is losing monies back to the state. They're going to give us the opportunity to shift projects, but we need to make sure we use all of the monies that they give us.
Yeah.
Otherwise we're giving monies back. So as long as we can do that, and if it balance out with the minimum amount coming from the Public Works Department, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, I'll call Jeff Bridges and see what, get some information on that, be sure we can move that money. So I'm at $833,000. I'm expecting at least $150,000, maybe more than that, on construction costs. And we got to leave construction costs out on Meadows Road too. It's going to take 2 or 3 weeks to do it. Still gonna have construction costs out there, which can get on up there in the area of $150,000 probably, maybe not that much, because they don't have that much work to do out there except pretty flat level land.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear from the commissioner that involved in these projects.
You have a comment, Mr. Billy?
I'm very workable either way on this. That could be our best route to go because after next week we'll be coming into November. And, this would be the researching if something, if the board chooses to rebid it, we could have it coming up late spring of 2014.
I believe we've got about $691,000 in LV money that will be available to us in the 2014 year.
609.
With that, Mr. Chairman, with that money, it doesn't have to be spent this year. It can be.
No, so that's for next
over
year's
into next
project.
year. Okay.
Right, we need to, it's something we all need to look at and see what projects y'all think need to be attended to next year, because we're still gonna have to come up with 30%. 30% of 690,000 is gonna be a little over $200,000. So, we need to be looking at that. But I'll see if I can get in touch with Jeff Bridges and see if they have a problem with us shifting that money, if it's enough to do it. That's the only thing I've got a question over, if we've got enough money to do it.
Because that, Mr. Chairman, that's where you use the 1% money on construction of roads. I got a question too. In our packet, we got a thing from DOT where they had signed off on Calhoun Road, Metters Road, Liberty Hill, Akron Pond, on the resurfacing on those two roads, and they had signed off on the paving on Metters Road and Calhoun Road. We should be getting a final draft money on that project.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it's gonna be. It could be as much as $50,000 or $60,000. I don't know how much it's gonna be.
Okay, well, I'll call Jeff Bridges and I'll see what he says about switching this money around, and then we'll get those details from Mr. Joe.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a request.
Okay?
After you've had time to do that, I think it would be very worthy of having a short work session with our commissioners to sit down and together and go over these road projects and review them and try to work out something that's agreeable with each and every commissioner of each district, and how that put in place. And then when we have these bids and things, I think it would keep us from running into some of the situation that we are trying to deal with at this time.
I agree with Mr. McDonald.
Yeah, I do too. It's, we have a need for a work session.
Why don't we do it next Tuesday after our regular meeting?
Fine with me.
It's next Tuesday the 5th.
November the 5th.
It's not next Tuesday, Ms. Mosley.
That'll work
Oh,
with me.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at September here.
Change it.
The 5th, whenever we meet.
Yeah, be November the 5th. Yeah. Okay, make a note if you will, Ms. Weaver, we're gonna have a work session after that meeting. Discuss these roads. Okay, it's discussion, pretty much discussed this. The next item is that the trailer right at the landfill, that thing was falling absolutely apart out there. Mr. Gaines went out Thursday night. Mr. Gaines went out last Thursday afternoon, looked at it, and we had the opportunity to bid on a, I don't know what you call it, a small house at this bid over where the old trade plant used to be. And it was a well-constructed house. It had everything, air conditioner, refrigerator. It was just a well-constructed house. And John called me and said that he talked to Mr. Gaines about it. And I talked to Mr. Sutton, since he and Mr. Gaines are on the Public Works Committee and over the landfill. And they both stated that they thought we ought to see if we could get that house. And we bid on it. And it was $8,000, which is considerably less than we could probably build anything out there. And we need to confirm that purchase, because that thing that we had out there, I don't see how Clay and them was even working in it. It was in such a mess. It's leaking, roof leaking, floor falling in, and we thought it would be the best move to go ahead and get that. So I'm recommending that we go ahead and approve this purchase, and I believe it's being set up out there today. And that's my recommendation, that go ahead and approve this.
Mr. Chairman, before you do that, let me give you some history on this. The county had a chance last year to move a house that was in good shape. Good shape. It was a total of $4,000 when it built. The one up on
I
County
believe that
Road.
was, yes, I believe
Nothing
around
wrong with it.
4,000.
Nothing wrong with it. And the board wouldn't even agree to move the house out there, which was in great shape. And spend $4,000. Of course, you know, we had to set it up and all that stuff. But yet we gonna agree to spend $8,800.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the purchase, and you've given all the details on it. It is a necessary purchase. These place that we are replacing this particular house with was inhabited for human consumption, because there were different facets. We had recently purchased an air conditioning unit, and the window where the unit was apparently had been soaking into the wooden part of it, so all of that was rotted out, and seemed to be a sign of mold coming in. So that was our key to get rid of that immediately, because we can't have people working in those conditions. So even though the purchase price may be a little high compared to what the previous board used to do, this was an emergency, it's necessary. So I make a motion that we approve the purchase.
Do we have a second? Okay, all in favor? All opposed?
I oppose it, and the reason I oppose it, because this should have been brought to the board, and the board should have discussed this before this was ever done.
Well, it was a auction that was held the Saturday following the meeting that we had.
That everybody knew a month ahead of time that the auction was gonna occur.
Well, I didn't know.
No, we did not. I got notice of the auction like 2 days before. And I got that because John had a flyer somebody had given to him.
I can't quite hear well.
I got a notice of that auction a couple of days prior to the auction. And I got it from John Berry, Public Works Director, and he said that they were going to be auctioning that particular piece of property off that Saturday. So it was after our meeting. The board had no knowledge of that was coming up. So it was a piece of property that we could get at a minimum cost to the county. Either way, we were going to have to replace that unit out there. And we checked along several of the side roads where they have these little houses, and they're averaging anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000, and that's without wiring, that's without bathroom, that's without air conditioning, that's without the tile and floor. So this unit had all of that in it, which, I mean, financially made sense to purchase. So that's why I suggested to John to call you, Mr. Chair, and then poll the commission and see if they were in favor of him aligning the bid on it. And that's how that got done.
Right. I believe you were out of town, Ms. Bozeman. I think that's when you went down to Mayo.
Mr. Chairman, let me say something. It don't matter if I'm out of town. My phone still rings. It rings. If I went to Sweden, it still rings.
I believe I called everybody on that deal, and in the past, when I've called you, you have not answered your telephone.
How many times have you called?
I've called you several times.
I beg your pardon.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman,
I
motion.
beg your pardon. There's a motion on, there's been a vote, and my vote is yes on the, did you vote, Mr. Bidley?
You're talking about on the surplus equipment.
No,
sir. We're talking about
Talking about
that
the trailer I put out
that
at
trade house.
the landfill.
Well, and I think we should have had a little more input about it, but Mr. Gaines and Mr. Sutton's on Public Works, and if they tell me that they have checked on this and everything is good and satisfactory, I do know as a farmer, I go out there almost weekly disposing of containers I buy spray for the farm, and the building is in horrible condition. I mean, something has got to be done. I don't understand why, when we had a chance to move a house out there, that the board, but that was a different board, and I can't help that. But in this situation, I would have to be in agreement with it. Something's got to be done. A man can't stay out there in what he's in. Something's got to happen.
Okay, so your vote is yes?
Yes.
Okay, that's 3-1. We'll move forward. Okay, fourth is to authorize Public Works to move surplus equipment to auction in Thomasville for the auction to be held October 26, 2013. Again, Mr. Gaines and Mr. Sutton are on that committee. Since the auction is Saturday.
I thought it was today.
No, it's
I
Saturday.
think they changed it, Mr. Chairman, to the day.
To the
That's
day.
why we're pushing for it. So I think the auction starts at 10 today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So John has moved all the equipment down there, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So we have a list here, Mr. Chairman, from the Public Works. If you want to go through this whole list of surplus.
Well, it's not a lengthy list, so if folks want to listen to it, I'll read it out to them. Unit 36, year model 1999 GMC dump truck. 1997 John Deere 7410 tractor. A Bain tandem axle trailer. A 2008 Tiger Boom sidearm mower. A 1989 Ford Ranger XLT. A 1983 Chevy military ambulance TR. 1993 International D466 dump truck. 850 John Deere root rake. A Lynch line harrow, and a 1985 International locomotive. That's a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 items.
Mr. Chairman, Public Works Director have declared that these items are of no more value to the county and asking that the board declare them surplus for the purpose of auction them off at a public auction to see if we can recover at least some monies back from these items. So I make a motion that we declare these surplus items.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, all in favor?
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna vote yes on the surplus equipment, but I'm gonna tell you something. You're not supposed to move any equipment out of this county until it has been declared surplus. And this equipment got moved yesterday.
Since the auction's today, Ms. Bozeman, we couldn't wait till the day to move it.
No, but if y'all had been here Thursday night, we could've.
Well, I wasn't any
Can I say
condition.
something to that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Betty, you know, I'm gonna have to reply to that. I wasn't here because I had a legitimate reason, you know.
I understand that.
Well, you know, you didn't, that statement didn't sound like you understood, you know. You said if you all had been here, and that included me. I called Miss Renee at
And she reported
5
that.
minutes after 12 Thursday and told her that I could not be here, you
She
know.
reported that.
And so, and I, you know, I'm defending myself and my wife and my family, you know. I've been here all other times, but when it comes down to my family, then hey, you know, I think anybody out there in that altar will tell you, your family comes before this board meeting, you know, in the county. I mean, you know,
I understand that, Mr. Sue.
you know, I just, you know, I had to say that. I'm sorry, but you know.
And I'll also state Thursday I had the stomach virus and I was not in any condition to come up into this meeting. I sent an email to Ms. Weeby 311. And I don't think the folks want me up here with the stomach virus.
Well, I informed the board a week prior to email that I was going to be out of the country, so sorry, Ross.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I agree that this equipment is past worn out, but the law is the law. I'm gonna have to vote no on that, because before we move anything, we're supposed, by the board, to declare it of no longer value or use to this county, because it all belongs to the taxpayers. And we're elected up here to be in charge of their interests, of how their monies are spent, and so forth. I don't mean it in no negative way toward anyone. I hope y'all understand that. But we have got to get a little better organized about some of the things that this is happening and that we're doing. You know, I think the board had voted on time back. I know there was a time that we, in situations like this, we'd do phone polls, and that still can be done if the board desires to do that. At least that keeps us well covered in the actions that we do and take up here.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, Mr. Sutton and I had agreed that these items were surplus, of a surplus nature. I had went out with John a week prior to that, looked at the pieces of equipment, recorded all of the documentations, and you were informed of it, and you agreed that we should go into surplus. Well, we thought it was going to be on Saturday, so we'll take care of it today. But we were informed that it was going to be today. So it's a time factor error, which in my opinion doesn't make it illegal, since at least 3 of the commissioners agreed that we should surplus the items. So I don't see anything illegal about that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I know you got a motion on the floor, but we also need to make a motion to change this date on this agenda. Because it's got October 26th.
Today's agenda? Today's agenda says October 24th.
Yes, on number 4 sheet, Mr. Chairman.
It don't say October the 24th on mine.
Correct.
Right there it says October the 26th.
Oh, October 26th, yes. That's Saturday. That was the date that I was given when this agenda
Bottom
was.
down
that needs to be changed into October 24th. Is there any reason why they changed that auction, Mr. Joe?
I have no idea. Mr. Barrett thought it was gonna be on Saturday. Normally it's on the weekend.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where he just assumed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make one statement. Some of you people that's in the meeting this morning know exactly what I'm about to say. I'm probably overcautious and more cautious than anyone else, but I'll be glad to discuss it with you privately. Anyone don't understand what I'm talking about, I have a real cause to be so cautious about these things, because I've been through the fire on 2 occasions in my career with the county up here, and some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. And when you go through the fire, you just be more cautious about things.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Billy.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Bozeman, was that a motion to change the date
No,
on the
because
agenda?
there's already a motion on the floor.
Okay.
Okay, the motion on the floor was to surplus this material, and it was a 3-to-1 vote. You voted yes, Mr. Mack voted yes, Mr. Joe voted yes, and Mr. Billy voted no. So surplus was approved. Now we need to change the date on this.
I make a motion that we change the date on the agenda under item number 4 to reflect October the 24th, 2013 as the date of the auction.
Have a second?
Second motion.
Okay, all in favor? The next item is concerning the fire department and the equipment out at the Sumner Fire Station. Back on July the 2nd, the board voted to move the fire engine from the Isabella Fire Station. And Ms. Bozeman stated concern about the fire grant that that engine was bought under, and that the engine was to remain out there until we got notice on it. And I've been trying to get in contact with the right people at FEMA, and of course the government shut down. The day I found who it was and called, the person emailed me back, and then I emailed him back. And the next day I got an email that he could not do anything because the government shut down. But since the government is now back open again, I got an email from Mr. Vincent W. Rams Sr. He's DHS/FEMA Region 4 out of Thomasville. And he said that if the fire engine is titled to Worth County, which it is, it can be moved to any fire station where the need arises. And that fire engine was moved from Sumner back to Isabella. And the fire department moved the fire engine from Scooterville to Sumner. And I don't know who authorized that. The whole board needs to authorize the moving of fire equipment around. And but since it's already been recommended that that fire engine from Isabella be moved to Sumner, I think that the board needs to instruct the fire department to move that Isabella engine back to Sumner and put the Scooterville fire truck back in place. Those folks in Scooterville, it was not right to move that truck from Scooterville to Sumner without authorization of this entire board. And that's what my instructions are. If anybody else has any comment.
Mr. Chairman, you need to get your little story right here. We authorized that engine
Which one?
out here at Isabella to go down to Sumner. It was sitting down there the day that they had the open house. And then because the engine was not big enough or it didn't fit the equipment or something other, they carried the Isabella unit down to Scooterville. I mean, this should all be in the minutes. They carried it to Scooterville. And then they brought the one from Scooterville to Sumner because there's something about the bigger the cab or something.
It's a crew cab. It's easier for the firefighter that's in the jump seat to put his gear on. You can't do that in Isabella's truck.
Correct.
Because there's not a pack insert. He has to get out of the truck on the scene and run around to the side door and open the side door to put his pack on, which will take him approximately another 2 minutes, when he could do all that inside the crew cab going to the initial call. That's why we made the recommendation to put the crew cab at Sumner and then put 13 down at Scooterville.
That's exactly right.
So is 13 at Scooterville now?
No.
No, sir, 13 is Isabella.
Okay.
But let me explain something else to you now. The engine went out at Worthy Manor. We moved the knocker, and it was all discussed right up in this boat. We moved the knocker from Doe's to Worthy Manor. Engine 13 went from Isabella to Doe's
That's
until
right.
we could get it fixed.
I remember that. But that still don't answer the question about the,
Well, why do you want to get Isabella's? I mean, is this a vendetta thing, just like it is with 911 and everything else?
Ms. Bozeman, you're out of order.
Well, I'm sorry.
You are out of order. It's not a vendetta thing. What it is to put the equipment where it's needed. The Isabella community is the best protected community in the entire county. They have a 5.8B rating, and every other location in the county has a 10, with the exception of the city of Sumner. Scooterville is sitting down there without a fire engine at their fire station, and I think it's a total disgrace to move a fire engine from down there and leave that section of the county unprotected. Anybody's got a comment, they can make it. Joe, you got a comment?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to sort of clear up something.
Speak up, please.
The board decided to make placements of these fire units. And it was decided here and voted on. Instruction was given to the captain to follow suit. And during that process, something come up that, whatever Captain Tom just said about the inability to perform that duty, and I guess in an expedient way. We don't need firemen having in a lag time. And I understand that, and I can relate to that. The only thing that I would suggest, so that we don't have two conflicting instructions, or the board giving instruction and it appears that the fireman didn't carry it out, so that we don't have that, is just have the captain to give us a layout of what happened and send it back up here, and we can just acknowledge that that is a process, so we don't have an order given and an order refused. So we'll be on the same page. I really don't have a problem where the fire units are at, as long as they're performing their duties. And if the captain say that that's the best way to do it, then let's go with the captains. But so that there won't be conflicts on the book or in the minutes, just have the captain to give us an acknowledgement of what happened. Of what happened to that transaction. Just a suggestion.
Mr. Billy, that Scooterville station's in your area.
Mr. Chairman, the only comment that I care to make at this time, most of you know I was in and out of the hospital on 2 occasions, going through 2 surgeries during when all this happened. I wasn't here, I knew nothing about it. I've had no involvement about what truck went where or what happened to this, that, and the other. I want that well understood and made clear. I made a statement at a prior meeting up there one night how I actually felt about this thing, and how the people of Scooterville, Georgia, that's where I was born and raised and hope to die there. We're a little bit different than most people, but I'm not going to make no special out effort to try to get anything changed back or fixed back or like that. We have a plan that we'll be working on at a later date.
Well, I will say this, in talking to Mr. Ram, I asked him about any upcoming fire grants that would be available to the county, and he said that they would have a grant coming up that Worth County could apply for another engine. So, you know, I think we need to move forward on that just as soon as the grant becomes available. I don't know who we need to talk to about writing a grant, but I'm sure there's several people out there that are very capable of writing a grant and getting us this grant. But I do think that the Scooterville area does need to have an engine down there, whether it's Isabella, whether it's Scooterville's back, whatever it is, they need an engine down there. Okay, as we move forward.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
One thing I left off, we do need to, I think it would be very important for this board as soon as they can come up with an attorney. My understanding at this point in time, if you're not provided services that other sections of the county provided, you do not owe the taxes that other sections of the county owe. And that would be an answer for a good attorney to address.
Okay. Last item on the agenda is to approve the settlement of $7,500 in the John Sims versus Worth County Board of Commissioners. This needs to be handled so we can notify the court of what we're doing. Have a letter here from Mr. Miller. He recommended that we pay the $7,500. I talked to the attorney that is representing Worth County in the federal case, Mary Ann Ackery. She also recommended it. She said if we did not approve it, that Trident, who was our insurance carrier handling the case, would withdraw their coverage, and it would leave Worth County open to pay all the expenses of the court. And also she said that if this went to the federal court, that where the jury was going to be pulled from, that it would be a very negative jury, and it could wind up costing the county a lot more than $7,500. So my recommendation is that we contact Ms. Ackery, I think that's the way she pronounced her name, and tell her that we will pay this $7,500 settlement and be done with this case. That's my recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the $7,500 settlement in the John Sims versus Worth County's lawsuit and notify the appropriate court people about the decision.
Okay, have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I will notify Ms. Acknor at the end of this meeting, tell her that we will provide us with a name, who it needs to be made out to, and who it needs to be mailed to.
Chairman Cosby,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to address the board, if I may, briefly. I presented the board with a letter of grievance this morning, and if you would, sir, please poll the board in acknowledgement that they received that letter.
Did y'all receive a letter from Ms. Whitby?
I received
I
it,
did.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, I received a letter.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Right here.
Second.
Okay. Second. All in favor? Aye.